Hey guys, John Lummy here, the founder of Conservative Business Journal and a host of the CBJ Real News Podcast Show with a very special broadcast. I was just interviewed on this great champion, Gary Binford, back on my show. I think it's your 6th, 7th, 8th appearance. He interviewed me on his radio show, which is going to air on January 18th, I believe, Gary, correct?
January 11th.
January 11th. So Gary, what's exciting is Gary is 71 years young today. This is December 31st, the final day of the year 2021. It's his birthday. So you see the title, it says 71-year young birthday, where exposes the evil. Now, Gary's from New York. And before we hit record for his radio show, he told me about his birthday experience. So guys, as you know, my show, share the show, take notes, get ready to hear the truth. I thank all of our supporters and sponsors, because this is why we do what we do. We're going to talk about the evil. So Gary, first off, happy birthday, young man.
Thank you very much, John. It's a blessing to have seen to live to be 71 years old, and I'm actually a lot younger because I got saved, born again at the age of 47. So my new life hasn't been 71. It's
That's
been
right.
a couple decades, but it's a beautiful thing to be walking in the favor of the Lord.
So before you recorded me for our show, when I was interviewed on your show, you told me it's your birthday, but you can't go to a restaurant in New York. You can't go anywhere in New York. Why? This is brutal.
Well, as you know, our governor that replaced Cuomo when he got booted out or was chased out for things. It's funny, you know, all kind of people. He puts people in nursing homes, older people, and they die from the China virus. And you have all these other things going on, and they get him on some sex scandal. It just shows how weird this thing is around here. But in our state, unfortunately, which I think is also in California, but I know about our state, restaurants and certain places you cannot go without your Vax card. And I'm not about to get vaccinated, John. As you know, we have both had many guests on both of our shows,
Right,
talking about not only the virus, but about the dangers of the vaccine. So no can do. So normally I would be out eating lobster, shrimps, mussels, scallops, and you'll like this, being Italian, in some type of red garlic sauce, you know,
there you go.
which I love, or in a garlic white sauce. But no, I had to eat home. So,
Wait a minute, Gary, you can't say garlic white sauce. It's a racist statement.
oh, but John, as you know, I am not politically correct.
That's right.
And just like you, we will kick out mega doses of truth. We will tell you what the truth is. And if you don't think we're telling truth, the one thing I know about you, and the one thing that I try and always do on my show, is make sure whatever I say, I can defend.
It's amazing when I listen to that, Gary. You just interviewed me in your radio show about capitalism. You know, I was blessed to write this book and publish it within a year ago. But I had the vision about 6 months before the China virus came in. It's interesting. You cannot go to remember on your show, I talked about the supply food chain, the restaurant, shutting down restaurants. Guys, hyperinflation, you haven't seen anything. You better be on the God's covering. You better be a tither, better be protected, because the hyperinflation is going to go through the roof because of the supply chain of food. So you're 71 years young. You have a great background in the sporting industry. You're a sports writer, and you're Black conservatives. You know, I never use color. I'd even difficult for me to say that. And it's interesting you say you'll never get the vax. The vaccine is not it is a bioweapon. You know, this show, obviously, at my event coming up, We the People Fight Back event, I got Karen Kingston, Pfizer whistleblower, Dr. Betsy, Dr. Kristen. By the way, we'll have massive security. We have our security, plus we just got an email from the sheriff right in between your interview and this one. The sheriff just sent us over. We're going to have full floor patrol of sheriffs at our event, because I'm bringing in We the People. I'm bringing in the truth that's going to smack the house down. As a New Yorker, the freedom. My family came from Italy through Ellis Island in New York. Imagine hitting Ellis Island, going, "Show me your vaccine passport." That is communist control. So, Gary, give us what does it feel like? Because you're there living it. What does it feel like to be living under that evil like that, Gary? I mean, you can't enjoy a beautiful Italian dinner. That's lobster, seafood, shrimp, phenomenal meal. You can't enjoy it because the government is instituted a vaccine passport, which is freaking brutal. And you got to wear a face diaper. I mean, Gary, just share everyone nationwide, internationally, this gets listened to, how brutal that is.
You're blessed if you live in a free state. But please understand, everybody within the sound of our voice, your state won't be free much longer if you don't get behind the movement of we the people. It's
right.
not we the government. It's we the people. What they're doing is unconstitutional. Notice have been all kind of plagues there when Barack Obama was president and the swine flu hit and people were dying. He didn't shut the government down. Nothing happened. Life went on. See, what you have to understand, this is about politics and it's about control. It's about control. It's about silencing the conservative voice. As Rahm Emanuel said, which he probably got from Saul Alinsky, the left has a very, very, one of their bigger sayings, never let a good crisis go to waste. That doesn't mean you create the crisis, but if you get one, use it to its utmost. And they're using this to its utmost to control us because they believe they can. It's just another example of trying to silence our freedom of speech and take away our freedom of liberties. I don't go out a lot, but I do walk, 3 to 5 days a week, 4 to 5 miles out here on Long Island where I live. And I'm watching people with masks in the store, I've seen a dog with a mask on, people with masks in their car.
Wait, Gary, I got to call a timeout.
Yeah, I said it. I said it.
Say that you saw a dog with a mask on.
She had a mask on her dog that she was walking. Spanish lady out here on Long Island.
Guys, the communist brainwashing. That's why I just wanted to do this little bonus show with Gary. This is America.
Right. And you see people with masks in their car by themselves.
Now let's talk about brainwashing. I want to show a quick video, Gary. This is Fauci, and you'll appreciate that. This is how much of a liar he is. Remember, I always talk about my episodes. You guys, you're in my circle of influence. You either receive this through your email or all the on Cloud Hub, by the way, which I'm so excited for Cloud Hub. There's no censorship, but not only Google. So you take this episode, you share it about 8 minutes, 30 seconds in. Show them this about Fauci. Those Fauci fanatics, just show them this.
Not be walking around with masks.
Let me just state for the record that masks are not theater.
Wearing a mask might make people feel a little bit better. And
masks are protective.
But it's not providing the perfect protection that people think that it is.
There has not been any indication that putting a mask on and wearing a mask for a considerable period of time has any deleterious effects.
There are unintended consequences. People keep fiddling with the mask and they keep touching their face.
And can you get some schmutz sort of staying inside there?
Of course.
You do not need to wear a mask indoors if, in fact, you've been vaccinated. Good that you're vaccinated, but in a situation where you have people indoors, particularly crowded, you should wear a mask.
So even if you are vaccinated, you should wear a mask.
That if, in fact, you are vaccinated, fully vaccinated, you are protected, and you do not need to wear a mask outdoors or indoors.
When the children...
Gary, I say that to everyone listening. By the way, when you see NIH at my event coming up, January 7th, January 8th, I actually have somebody who worked with Fauci, and she's going to be sharing some inside scoop on, I'll be interviewing her on my show also coming up. She's coming in. She was with Fauci and the NIH. And we only have, I think we got maybe 3 tickets remaining, or we may have even sold out as of today. But if you guys are not booked for the event, get your reservation in. Look at, and guys, you can go to WeThePeopleFightBackEvent.com, WeThePeopleFightBackEvent.com. Use promo code CBJ for an instant $100 savings. We're famous for our food, our environment, our training program, our VIP dinner. We got great entertainment. We got a ventriloquist at dinner. We got 7 singers singing. It's going to be phenomenal. And you can also call or text us 561-847-3467, 561-847-3467. I have someone who worked with Fauci for decades through the NIH. They're going to expose some stuff. And I just talked to her 2 days ago. She says, John, I'm going to share it. Fauci is a criminal. So for all of you that love Fauci, show them that. Gary, how about that? People still believe Fauci because of the fake news, right?
Yeah, well, it's, John, it's partially the fake news, but you can't blame it all on the fake news because, see, people understand there are 2 sides to a coin and 2 sides to a story. What they don't want you to know, to the best of my knowledge, more than half the country is still not vaccinated. A lot of people have not taken this so-called jab. The point is,
and Gary, on my show, Gary, in my show, you call it a bioweapon. You could say bioweapon.
Oh,
It's a bioweapon.
oh,
It's
bioweapon. So we're not allowed to use that anymore.
No, you can use jab, but jab's kind of a weak. Where this is CBJ
Oh,
Realness,
okay.
this
Got you.
a biological weapon to kill you is a bioweapon.
Okay, got you. Okay.
Because
It won't take the bioweapon.
There you go.
Right, but here's the point I'm trying to make. The point I'm trying to make is that they have moved this goalpost so many times. He is told so many untruths. Now kids have to take it. Now this. Now you've taken 2. Now 3. Oh, that was supposed to stop it. Oh, no, I don't have any symptoms, but I still have it. Oh, now you need to take a couple boosters. People, what you need to do is understand what's going on here, that there's another side to the story. There are people, John, with itching ears, meaning they are being told what they actually want to hear because they know there's a whole bunch of states and a whole bunch of people who haven't taken this. Your state in Florida is open. Texas is open. There are all kinds of states open. They understand there's another side to the story and they understand where to get the information. They have chosen not to go there on purpose. And just to take this one step further, somebody made a nice Facebook post that showed people standing in line to get into a restaurant with masks on. And it says, the virus can get you here. And then it shows the people sitting around the table in the restaurant eating and says, but if you're sitting down, the virus can get you.
Yeah, I mean,
it's interesting that once you get into the restaurant, you can now take it off, but you have to wear it when you're outside of the restaurant, even if you're vaccinated.
I mean, it's all about, it's all attacking
Craziness,
capitalism.
people.
I mean, because the communists told what business was essential for their reign. Walmart was open. The big box stores were open. That is 90% of products are from China. Mom and pop business, the businesses that built America were told you weren't essential enough for the government to shut down. Guys, I'm an expert. I wrote the book in capitalism. And this is, some interviews I can't go as deep, but this is my show. Understand this. My listeners know this. Every move of the communists is for you to earn income. That's all it is. Every small business, these small mom and pop restaurants, I share this on your show, Gary, patronize them. Go there, go beyond Uber Eats, drive there. Don't even let Uber earn the income from that. Go give an extra tip to the person there, tip the waitress and the server that's working. You got to patronize. It's all about capitalism. I mean, you're in New York, the evil. Tell them also about, you don't have to name the church, but a church just reinstated a mask mandate to go to church, which is complete.
Yes, see, this is going on around here. And it's amazing to me because as a follower of Jesus Christ, I count on God to protect me. And by the way, if you know the vaccine or whatever they're calling the vaccine is not safe, why would you take it? I put my faith and trust in God to protect me. Now, God created us with great antibodies and things to fight off all kind of infections, all kind of diseases. Now, this is man-made, but my point is this. If you have a defense system already in place that the good Lord created when he created us to fight off these type of antibodies, to fight off these type of diseases and things, don't you realize by putting a mask on, you are blocking the ability of the natural process of breathing the air and what's in it, be it bad or good, to help your antibodies. See, when you wear the mask all the time, it's doing more harm than good because the bad stuff, if you have anything, can't get out, nor can the good stuff get in. It's totally an evil. It's really an evil thing because they're doing it for political purposes.
And you get to the point
people
where
need to know and understand these things, and that's why, John, it's great that you get the word out. But again, a lot of people, don't understand, don't do this. The very church that I went to created a mask mandate that, well, we want you to wear the mask, honor the other people, so I won't go until it's lifted. I
mean, guys, you gotta realize that's why I'm decided to do this show in my brand, which trademarked 6 years ago, by the way. Mm-hmm. Faith stands in fear on is a brand. 5 words says it all. And you can see the logo, the E is kind of beat up logo. Because when you take faith, you take a beating, but you don't, you're standing. You stand for the truth, and God's exposing evil. You're standing for the truth. And my dad's 92. He's a few years. He's 21 years to your elder. You turned 71. This is being recorded December 31st. Happy New Year's. To me, every day's a birthday. Every day's a New Year. So Gary, you got 2 in 1, baby. You're awesome. Happy birthday on New Year's Eve and your birthday and a new year. And this is actually my dad. He called Pfizer and asked him what's in it. You guys listen to this. You'll appreciate it. It's only 40 seconds. Hey guys, John DeLemme here, the founder of Conservative Business Journal and the host of the CBJ Real News Podcast Show. I'm here with my world famous 92-year young and healthy dad. My dad eats live food, exercises, drinks a lot of water, gets fresh air every day. And as you guys have heard, it's at all my events. I always say, based upon a recommendation of Dr. Krista, who's going to be on my show, Time Sensitive, tomorrow night. Make sure you watch the replay if it's after tomorrow. That she made a suggestion, and some other doctors too, suggested for you not to take the so-called vaccine, correct?
Correct.
And you called Pfizer, and Pfizer couldn't give you an answer, right?
I called Pfizer directly. They wouldn't give me a direct answer.
But what's in it?
What's in it?
That's it, guys. Sum right up. Healthy living, fresh air. You called Pfizer, and Pfizer couldn't give you an answer.
Nope.
92. Been through hell and high water in America. Not going to put your life in some big pharma company. Game on. You know, it says it all. It's 92. You can't put your life in big pharma. Gary, how awesome. I mean, it's a bunch of crap. It's a bioweapon, guys. I mean,
God bless your father, Phil. You know, and John, as I was telling, I had a conversation today with somebody. Actually, it was the recording artist I used to manage, Dwayne Kerr, Funky Flute Man, and he called and wished me a happy birthday. And we were talking about this because he's still in the music industry. And I told him that I won't tell anybody what to do, whether to take it or not. What I do tell people is do your homework. Find out what it's about, regardless of which side of the aisle you're on, because there are 2 different trains of thought about this. There are doctors that believe in it. There are doctors that don't. Listen to both of them, and then you make an educated opinion, a decision for you and your family. But the problem is, a lot of people are listening to the mainstream media. They're listening to the Democratic Party politicians. They're listening to the athletes. They're listening to Hollywood and the entertainment industry and academia, colleges, and their churches. And they're scared to death of this thing when they really need to be scared to death about the vaccine.
And it's not, and guys. And I tell people it's a Russian roulette. To me, it's my show. I love my sponsors and supporters. I'm independent news media outlet. It's not a choice. Why? Because it's a weapon. It's Russian roulette. You put it in a chamber. You put that. You go like that. Bam. It's either because I've had got Karen Kingston. I've had Dr. Betsy on 9 times. Dr. Krista. Dr. Brian Artis. All my shows. I'm actually putting together. It'll be up within a week. Conservative Business Journal. We're going to have resources. You're going to click on a resource tab. We're going to have the best of the best to give people. We've published so many articles about vaccines for kids, the 8 adverse side effects, the whole stick the swab up your nose. It went viral. We just published an article 2 days ago, guys. Make sure you're tied into conservativebusinessjournal.com. We have some of the greatest writers. We expose the real news, and that's why we're so shadow banned. And I want to thank those of you that are on Cloud Hub right now. Make sure you follow us, CLOUTHUB, cloudhub.com. Search feature, put in CBJ Real News. Follow us and subscribe to our channel. It's free. We just published today 5 articles that's going viral about, there's so much going on in the real news, but all of you are part of this. And Telegram and Rumble, my channel is CBJ Real News, CBJ Real News. Make sure you visit conservativebusinessjournal.com, submit your best email, and get notified of the real news. This is a weapon. It's artificial to track you. We published something right now in Sweden. There's a microchip. You walk up to your phone if you're vaccinated or not. They're tracking you. Guys, but Gary, so you're 71. You ever thought, now tell everyone a little bit of your background. You love sports writer. You love America. You're a Christian. Who would have thought at 71 years of age, you can't go out to enjoy dinner in New York?
Right. I majored in sports and sports. I majored in music and journalism, and I was a sports writer for the New York Newsday for 13 years. Then went to the New York Daily News. Then I became the long time for about 15 years until 2006 manager of the Funky Flute Man, who I mentioned, Dwayne Kerr, who's on D-Man's Records. And then I became a Christian. I became born again, got saved at the age of 47, and God basically took me out of the world. And next thing I knew, I was learning, teaching Sunday school at a church, ages up to 12. And then I just started a page on Facebook, and people started asking me conservative political, and I was a Democrat, raised black. I didn't know any better, and now I became a conservative once I became a Christian, and I came to understand what God really stands for. And then people started calling me and asking me to come on the radio show. So I did about 18 radio shows, a few TV shows, and then finally James Bostic, the big boss man, said, you need your own show. While I was down at Rock the Red, you were there, John. Doug Collins was speaking. I said, I don't want my own show. 6 months later, I had my own show. It was live for a year, and now it's a podcast. You've been on, General Flynn, Mike Lindell, Star Parker, Morgan Brady, all high-profile guests. I've had over 100 in a year. It's been a blessing, and we're going to keep going because we kick out truth from the conservative side. And I try and do what you do, and I'm learning a lot from you, because the key thing is be faithful to what you believe at all costs. And that's the thing with my show. I will not compromise, just like you, John.
And that's why, because I remember the conversation we had when I said, Gary, just do it. Remember, Gary, do it. Just do it.
That's right. I asked you, should I do it?
Oh, I remember me beating you up about it. Yeah. You said, I said, don't pray about it. This is an answer to your prayers. You're asking me about it. Everyone listening, big problem, big opportunity, but you got to take a stand. You know, faith stands and fear runs. You know what? My event coming up, and I want to show this quick clip, and I want you to comment on it. You're going to love this, Gary. This is Pastor Stacy Shiflett coming in he's a Baptist preacher in Maryland, and he never closed his church, and a cease and desist order came in, and this is when he was going to preach, and this is what this is his message. It's awesome. So I'm going to ask you a question from this.
So newsflash, Pharaoh doesn't get to dictate to God's people how they worship their God. God's the one that defines the parameters. God's the one that communicates his will and his plan for his church, not Egypt. And I'm telling you right now, with this cease and desist letter in my hand, the Bible says to the New Testament church, not forsaking the assembling of yourselves together as the manner of some is, but so much the more as you see the day approaching. And the closer we get to Jesus coming back, the more church we ought to be having, not less church. Now that's God's parameters. So I'm tearing up this cease and desist order right here.
Brother.
And I'm telling you right now, we're going to do it God's way.
Awesome.
We're going to do it God's way. God tells us how to worship him. Nobody else gets to do that.
I can tell you, when I bring Pastor Stacy up, he's speaking to my event. This is coming up January 7th. When I play that, as I introduce him, bring the house down.
Bring the house down. John, here's my comment. Boy, see, people, you've got to understand something. This is about control. As we talked when John did my show, we just taped today. Communists are about control. They want to take control of the private sector, the things that the Constitution, the freedom of speech, the freedom of liberty to worship as we choose, or the freedom of liberty, all our freedoms that come from God through our Constitution, they want to turn that over to take control, where government becomes your daddy and tells you what you can do. And we would not be in the situation we are in today if pastors, when they tried the first time to invoke this, you can't worship and you can't sing if you have a mask on and you can't go to church, if we had said, hey, we have our constitutional rights, and if the pastors and the church had held firm, like the pastor you just said, they wouldn't have been able to pull this off, because there are too many believers, and it would have made such a stink, and it would have become national news, and then God would have been brought back into the picture, which he's been kicked out of for the last 10 years, because most people don't know what God thinks, nor do they care. We should have fought them back with the word of God. And I don't think we'd be in this position we're in now.
And that's why it's faith stands and fear runs. The evil. It's evil. I mean, you're a 71-year young man. You've paid your price in America. You live in America. You have freedom, and you can't go enjoy your birthday. That's evil. There's nothing good they're doing, guys. There's not one thing they're doing. And those of you on Fox, especially that one Fox doctor who drives me crazy, between Mark Siegel and that other doctor, well, she's promoting kids getting vaccines. Are you out of your mind? One of my top shows went viral, Gary. I wouldn't do this on your show because you'd definitely be canceled on the streams you're on. I did a show called Blood Money, because when your sponsors, remember, they have paychecks. They can only say so much because they get a host paycheck. I don't get a host paycheck. I'm the last one to earn income in my company. I own the company. So I thank my sponsors and supporters. Many of them stepped up to the plate for our Florida event. I'm so excited. And obviously our regular shows, because you've got to make a decision, because that's why we're having sheriffs at our event, a lot of security. We have Pastor Greg Locke. I want to show a quick montage of Greg, and you'll be fired up in this, Gary. I want you to comment on this, because we're talking about evil in New York. This is a little 60-second montage of Greg on my last event. And Greg will be here again next week. And great friend of mine, Pastor Greg Locke, shared the stage many times with him around the country.
If you're glad to be in the conference today, say amen. We are here today because we have stepped into the kingdom. If we don't take this nation back now, we lose all of it. They know who they can control and exactly who's going to be a problem moving forward. I'm going to be a problem moving forward. I'm not going to back up, pack up, slack up, or shut up till I've been taken up by the glory of God. Pastors and churches in America have disappointed people to the core. If you go to a church that's still closed because of this COVID nonsense, it's pastored by a coward, and you better get out of it. You try to impede on our First Amendment right, we'll meet you at the front door with our Second Amendment right. If I don't call out corrupt politics, I'm not going to have a platform from which to even preach about Jesus Christ. America will fall down before him and call him Lord. I'm going to get on the steed of freedom. And I'm going to run through every town I can, and I'm going to let everybody I see and everybody I know that I have one message for them, and that's simply this: hey, Jesus is coming, Jesus is coming, Jesus is coming, Jesus is coming. And we can't back down, church. We got to be bold. We need a baptism of boldness. Don't you let them silence you. And I was gearing them all up, and I looked right at the camera, and I said, they'll be serving Frosties in the lake of fire before Pastor Greg Locke ever shuts down his church because a buck wild, demon-possessed, tyrannical government told him to. I ain't playing their Democrat games no more. We've been talking about faith for years, and it's all been talk. Church ought to be open in America. I said, Planned Parenthood, Washington, D.C., I'm coming for you. I opened up the suitcase, poured out 7,500 letters. Man, their eyeballs bugged out of their head like Jimmy Dean sausage cake. My rights did not come from government. My rights came from God. Life's too short to die, coward. The first people to go to hell are the cowards. The people trying to silence us will never be remembered by history, but those of us that stand will leave a legacy. So I said, we're not going to close our church. I was trying to be a pastor. In 15 months, we've baptized 1,300 converts at our church. And I'm like, where are all these people coming from? They're hungry for leadership. So we either believe God or we believe the media. You can't believe both. If you don't believe Joe Biden stole the election, you ought to sue your brain for non-support. We should have a lot of people dropping dead at our church, but we have a lot of people getting new life. People have lost their minds. If you think I'm going back down, you got the wrong one. I'm not looking for Donald Trump to save America. I'm looking for Jesus to save America, because when we save Americans, we will rescue the nation from the grips of leftism.
So that is We the People Fight Back event. The guys, make sure Pastor Greg Locke will be in the house once again. Make sure you're here, guys. We're going to rock it. 561-847-3467. Secure your ticket. Pastor Greg Locke will be in the house taking pictures. He'll be there the whole time. It's going to be just I get so fired up because it is so important for all of you to make a decision what he said. Gary, I know you're wound up. Guys, once again, We the People Fight Back event.
That should be sent. Anybody, that should be sent. That little montage should be sent.
And that's from our August event.
Everybody
from our August event.
Flames Christ. And if their church won't play that, you need to find another church, because he nailed it all. And the one thing that really, really stood out among everything that was right on point biblically was that if we don't take up this fight for righteousness now, he won't have a platform to preach. Because next thing you know, church will be underground like in China and other places, because they will outlaw the Bible. That's what this is all about. This is all about, people understand, this is really a spiritual battle of trying to get God out of this country, because in order to have communism, God must be removed. He's already been removed from the schools. He's been removed from the workplace. He's been removed from the government. And now they're trying to force us back inside the walls of the church, keeping crying about Jesus Christ as Lord, and they don't, and they want a secular society so they can pull their communism. We have to stand up and fight back. And it's reaching the point where if we don't, we're going to lose. We're going to actually lose the voice of the church. But that's not going to happen because, John, as you know, God doesn't need many people. Right. God just needs a few if they're faithful.
He just needs one person. That's why, guys, Pastor Greg Locke live at my event, Pastor Stacy Shiflett, Pastor Shane Vaughn. We don't play games. We the people fight back. And you talk about one person guy. I'll show this. And you brought it up. This is a clip we just pulled from Pastor Stacy Shiflett. I'll have you comment on this. He was just on my show 3-4 times. Pastor Stacy's awesome. You will appreciate exactly what you just said, Gary, what you just said. And I want you to comment, and then we'll give a recap for your birthday, and I'll let you go enjoy your birthday. But this is such an important show. Gary's live in Long Island, 71 years young, got many, many more years to live. He's definitely going to be a centurion. And yet right now in Long Island, he can't enjoy a birthday because he's in communist control in Long Island. It's just insane.
Oh, I can enjoy it. I just can't go out and enjoy it.
Yeah, but I mean but it's amazing where, and you're taking a stand too. You're not well, just to eat I'm going to get jabbed, I'm going to get a bioweapon. No, he's taking a stand, and God's blessing that walk, Gary, because you're standing by faith, and fear is running. And guys, remember, our entire Faith Stands and Fear Online is all available on conservativemarketplace.com, conservativemarketplace.com. We have all our swagware, we have our stickers, our magnets. It's going viral, this line. I appreciate all of you supporting us and supporting obviously people that print it. So you're going to love this. You're going to love this, Gary.
Stories in the Bible. Joshua went into the tabernacle. All the Bible says all the men stood in the door of their tent. But Moses, as he stood in the tabernacle and talked to God face to face, like a man talks to his friend, Joshua was in there, and Joshua stayed. And he was the only one that went into the tabernacle with him. And we could just go story after story after story in the Bible. And John the Revelator was given the book of Revelation in exile on the Isle of Patmos, and he was all alone. Well, I say he was all alone. John chapter 1, Revelation chapter number 1 said he was in the Spirit on the Lord's day. God was with him, but I mean he was there alone. The Apostle Paul wrote much of his epistles from a prison cell, and so we're living in a day and age where, if you have to have a group of people around you patting you on the back and cheering you on before you're going to do the right thing and live for God and serve God, you're not going to do much, okay? Because most people are either going to be complacent and have so much apathy till it's ridiculous, or they're going to literally be attacking you and fighting you. Do you realize when David went to try to fight Goliath, he had to wade through his brother calling him names. He had to wade through Saul telling him, you're not able to do this. He had to wade through his own people trying to stop him before he ever even got to the actual enemy. And so today, I'm realizing that sometimes being alone is about the best place you can be. It's better to be alone than it is to be surrounded by people that either have no concern, no care, no convictions, no power, no courage. Absolutely. And, and sometimes it just takes one. When I tore up that cease and desist, that video went viral. I had missionaries and pastors from the Philippines, South America, and Australia calling me and texting me and emailing me saying, you gave me enough courage. We're going to have church at our church on Sunday. And I went, whoa, time out. I've got the First Amendment to back me up. You don't have the First Amendment. They didn't care. They were so invigorated and emboldened by that video clip, that 57, 58-second video clip, that in places like the Philippines and Australia, they were willing to go to jail to open their churches again. Sometimes it just takes one person having some grit and some courage to get everybody else moving.
Let me tell you something.
I'll say this in closing. When you're alone, if you are a follower of Jesus Christ, you're not alone. You're in the presence of God. And a lot of times that's the place where you really, really need to be, because that's where your courage, that's where your encouragement, that's where your edification, your sanctification, and everything that you need to do whatever the Lord would want you to do. Each person is different. That's where you can get it, because you got to fight this battle by yourself. Yeah. You strength in numbers, that works. But, when I just noticed I'm alone a lot, and, because I don't have a lot of people in my life, but the ones that are in my life are powerful people. And they're the Christians, and they're
fighters
who like what you do. And it creates, it's powerful. Let's just
that's why when you look at it,
we can move.
People always go, John, why do you keep your events at 200 people? The 200 people, you get a training program. It's a 28-page training program where you get to take notes. As you get a pen, you get a swag bag, you're fully fed. The food, everyone's there the entire time. There's no options. You have to be there the whole time. Yeah, you don't choose who you want to listen to. You're there the whole time. This is disrupting the conservative movement, because Pastor Stacy Shiflett, Pastor Greg Locke, Professor Shane Vaughn, Karen Kingston, I mean, Dr. Paul Williams. This is, I say this for all, there's only a handful of tickets remaining for our event. It is so important because we are creating an army. And my greatest speakers are Hallie and Steve, 81 and 73. And I'm saying this to all of you because, Gary, that's why I had you come on. Obviously, you know Sabine. Sabine will be at the event. Angel Mom and Alan and Francine Fosdick and so many others, and Brad Barton and Dr. Betsy and Dr. Krista. And it is important for all of you to realize it takes one. We're in a movement in America. I mean, you know, it takes one, and big problem, big opportunity. And that's when we, on your show, Gary, and I'm not sure if you've ever seen this commercial of mine. I want to show it, and then we'll definitely recap. But people are in an opportunity right now where they're going to try to shut you down. They're going to try to destroy you. And they try to destroy us. But out of that, big problem, big opportunity. Out of New York right now, you're going to have people rise up in that state. You're going to have some of the greatest entrepreneurs and visionaries rise up and not just get a jab or just wear a mask. They're going to say enough is enough. So I want to show our conservative marketplace commercial, and then I'm going to expand upon it. Then Gary, I'll let you enjoy your birthday. What a bonus show! 71 years young, conservative, brilliant man. Just exposed. People can't believe, like, I really can't believe New York's like that. No, it's like this. You can't go nowhere. I mean,
that's just the tip of the iceberg. It's socialists. Yeah. I mean, the government is just amok.
Yeah. All right, here we go. Real quick. Boom.
Remain a warrior, dude. Remain a warrior. Don't let them burn you down.
Guys, everybody listen to what Gary just said. Big problem, big opportunity. I remember with some of you in a situation, what are you going to do? Go to God one-on-one and ask him strongly. Give it to me. Every time I watch that, I get so, you can't hear me because our mics are muted. I get so, because I remember that day going when our YouTube account, everything was shut down. I went to Google. You can't place an ad again. YouTube, your 5,000 videos gone. 2 million subscribers. One of your videos, Gary, had 70,000 views on, and you were on. Gone. Now that's media. That's monetization. And I said, I'm not backing down. Fate stands and fear runs. We're exposing evil. And conservativemarketplace.com. And I'm proud of all guys. Go at this. Look at all the categories, especially the health supplements. We have a Vax Regret program. We have a Let's Go Brandon line, our conservative business journal line. Take a look at the jewelry, the accessories, the hats, the artwork, the posters, all printed. Look, all the books are self-published in America. 5% of proceeds goes to Heartbeat of Miami. That wouldn't have happened, Gary, if it wasn't a problem.
I hear you.
So I want everyone to realize. So Gary, you give people some words of wisdom. 71 years of age, to stand strong.
If you're Christian, if you follow Jesus Christ, you know what Christ commands. And as one of the pastors said, I think it was Greg Locke, we aren't called to be cowards. We're called to be warriors, but we're called to be warriors through the Holy Spirit and through the Lord. You know, in other words, he'll order our steps. He'll lead us, each individual, into what you can do to get involved, because God and government do definitely mix. They must go together because God created government. So any government that wants to throw God out That is not a we the people government. Okay. The second thing, if you're a patriot, you just happen to be a patriot and you love this country and you love the freedoms you have, get involved and do what you can to learn to fight for it. Whether it's running for school board, whether it's showing a video once a week to a group, whether it's getting involved with a really good political candidate. The one thing we all have to do is just continue. My motto, one of my mottos has always been, just get one, flip blue to red.
Right.
In other words, just get one person. If you get one person and can change the mindset of a person away from the communist, Marxist, socialist left, you just get one person, that person gets one, and that person gets one, we can create a beautiful tsunami. That's what the left did. They went to the liquor stores, they went to the McDonald's, they were standing in front of supermarkets, they knocked on doors, they changed minds. We can't necessarily change minds, we need to change hearts.
It's amazing, Gary. And
People's
what
hearts
you
to
said,
look towards the truth of what
So-
God and Christ stand for and what this country was founded on. We can retake this country back.
and those businesses, phenomenal wisdom, Gary. And those businesses were essential according to the communists.
Yeah.
Liquor stores were open, McDonald's is open, but the virus didn't go there. It went on go into ABC, mom and pop. Guys, wake. Like I said right now, all of you know we have a website called getthehelloutofnewyork.com. Because my wife became a realtor because we had so many people coming down here asking us questions. We now could, because the biggest scam artists in Florida now are realtors, by the way. A little side note, we have great ones in our community, but be careful. Any questions? How about the website, getthehelloutofnewyork.com? And I've said to all of you guys, Gary 71, he's in New York. You heard about a mask mandate in a church, restaurants, and he's not taking to buy a weapon and he's not carrying down. You're a man of courage and God's blessing your walk, young man. And Gary, your show, your radio show, please tell them how they can listen to your show.
Okay, my show is called United Patriots Uprising with Gary Binford. It's a podcast.
Oh, yeah.
United Patriots Uprising with Gary Binford. It downloads every Tuesday morning. You can find it on radioinfluence.com, radioinfluence.com. That's who distributes it. But it'll also be on most of your podcast platforms like iHeartRadio, Google, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher. It's on most of the major podcasts. If you want to follow me, I'm on Facebook, Gary Binford. My name's up there. And also you can follow me on Twitter, Gary / Binford, at Gary / Binford.
Excellent.
And this is what we do. I do what John does. Maybe not the same way John does it, but I bring on high profile guests just like John does. And it's all about truth. Truth, standing for God, family, country, Constitution.
Faith stands, fear runs. Any questions, guys? If you're trying to find Gary, can't find him with the crazy technology, give us a call, give us a text, 561-847-3467. And make sure you do subscribe to our podcast. You can actually go back and listen to many of Gary's previous episodes. You visit conservativebusinessjournal.com and you'll see podcasts, which takes you out to our page, cbjrealnews.com. And you'll see a library of episodes under B for Binford. You'll see many episodes over the years with Gary.
We've had a good time. We've had a good time.
Because you're in, Gary. You're a 1%er. You're in long term. I'm so proud of you staying home and not just wearing a mask is complying.
Yeah.
I went off in your show about that with the Constitution, and I don't wear a mask. I don't wear it. I'm famous in the airport. I wear it just through TSA like that, and then I have it hanging. I've done videos walking through airports with no mask on. I'm eating constantly. I don't. Just a mask is a brutal. That's what they're looking for. That's who they can control. Gary Binford, thank you for celebrating your birthday
John,
with
I
us.
do want to say one other thing, because you said we just recorded a show. John was the guest on my show. That podcast, which will be audio, is an audio podcast. That podcast will download on Tuesday, January 11th. John DeLemme on Gary Binford, United Patriots Uprising with Gary Binford.
And then I take that show and I run it through my podcast platform. And
Okay.
I was okay in the show. I get to a certain level. I don't scare new listeners. I go.
Yeah, you were fine. You're always fine.
See
But
you guys.
everybody can. My show is a freewheeling show. Most people come on and never leave.
It's awesome. But guys, I can't wait. For those of you listening to this, make sure you're here with us next weekend, January 7th, January 8th. Pastor Greg Locke, Pastor Stacy Shipman. I just want to read all the guests real quickly. Brad Barton, Karen Kingston, Pastor Greg, Doug Billings, Dr. Betsy, Professor Toto, Alan and Francine Fosdick, Dr. Lynn Lee Tarver, Dr. Paul Williams, Tom Homan, Sabine, Alfie Oakes, Pastor Stacy Shiflett, Frank Valentine, Dr. Krista, Captain Wayne Smith, Frank Deverono, Dominique and Keith from Florida Citizens Alliance, Ian Ferrari, Jeff Preston, Martha Avila, and Maurice, and some special guests. It's game. We the people, all big name, all of you attending a big name people. I'm very humble. God gives me the mouthpiece, and I'm just focused on what I do as a teacher. So we're excited, guys. Make capitalism great again. Step out in faith. Get inspired. Have the courage. Go out and do something. Support local business. Get an idea. Paint rocks like Deb with the Faith Stands Fear on a Rock. Guys, God bless you guys. Thank you very much. Share, support, follow. You're a special person. You are the one. Great show, Gary. Thank you.
Thanks for having me as a guest, John.
Good night, guys. God bless you. Happy New Year. Good
God
New
bless
Year.
your families, you, and God bless America.
Happy birthday and Faith Stands at Fear One, baby.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
You're awesome.